Good evening, everybody. This is Jerry here on JS Farms. JS stands for Jesus Saves. And here we are going to come to you tonight with a video on management. This week I had someone ask me why I keep these sheep mobbed up on a small paddock at a time. How come I just don't give them the whole field? Well, there's a long answer to that question, but the short answer is management. You're managing your grass. Here is the paddock that they came from. There's about 4 of them in a row, and we're managing the grass to maximize our grass over the winter so we don't have to feed any grain or hay. And so the first answer to that is management. We want the sheep eating on the top of the canopy being the grass. So you see here where they have eaten all the leaves off of these weeds. They're eating on the top of the canopy. Here you can see this sheep in this bush eating the leaves. Well, what's the benefit of them eating on top of the canopy instead of at the bottom? And that's the second reason why we don't give them the whole pasture is because they eat on top, it keeps them from eating on their parasites, which is their manure. So if we keep the sheep moving, they're not eating their own manure, and that avoids them having to worm them like you do your own cattle or something. So if you manage your grass and you manage the ground and give them a small area, it keeps them from eating all the way down to the bottom. You can see there is manure piles that they leave all over the paddock, and that's good for managing fertilizing the ground. So we mob them all up together in these short little paddocks. That's the fourth reason why we don't give them the whole field. We want them to mob up and fertilize the ground. When they urinate on the ground, it provides nutrition for the soil just like their manure. So when you mob them all up, you're concentrating your manure on the ground. So that fertilizes. Oftentimes people use chicken fertilizer to fertilize their fields back home from poultry farms. But another way to go about it is to mob your animals up, move them, and that is management. It's another way of doing it. Now the theory is that it keeps your costs down. Costs for not having to buy manure, costs for not having to buy a wormer, and you're giving your animals the best part of the plant, which is the top part, which is closest to the sun. So the more you have them eating on top, the better. So this small paddock that they're in, mobbed up here together, we're concentrating our manure, we're managing the grass so we don't have to feed any additional supplements, and you're treating the soil all along the way. What I'd like to do is take some old hay that has better grasses in it than what's in here. You see I've clipped all this. That's because there's a lot of trees in here. There's too much shade in this area. I need to cut out some more trees to let the sunlight in. But I would like to take some old hay, Bermuda or Bahia, and spread it on top of this little plot, about 2 acres. And inside these grasses, you know, there's probably 6 or 8 inches left here now on this paddock that I clipped. Just clipped the top of it. But the reason why we do that is because we want the grass to recover, grow another 3 or 4 inches, give it 30, 40 days of recovery. And by the time we come back, all this good manure that's in the ground will fertilize the soil. So we're using mobbed animals, pretty low maintenance, to build the soil, which grows better grass. And that keeps our costs down. So the short answer is management. No worming, no hoof trimming, no tail docking. Just move them every couple of days to a new spot and they'll do the work. But the main thing with these sheep is they're pretty helpless on their own. They gotta have a protector. They gotta have a shepherd. They gotta have a guardian. And that's why you gotta have a dog. And Stella, our guard dog, is doing just that. Here, Stella. She was just here. Sometimes when I show up, she'll move around, look around. Come here, dog. She went over to the dog feeder to get her a bite. Here she comes. Come here and say hi. Come here, dog. Come here. Come here. Well, with that said, I'm going to sign off. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Tell them hi, sis. Say hi. She's 6 months old. Well, that will sign off. Hit your notification bell to alert you on new content. And remember, Jesus saves. He's our shepherd. He's our protector. And he's our Savior. And he wants to save you too. If you want to know more about him, reach out to me. Be glad to show you and tell you how you can be saved. Thanks a lot.